Edward Teach.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good start. Edward Teach, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you yourself?
Bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm good, and you are Edward Teach. Is that a pirate name?
It is. It is. It's named after the famous and notorious pirate Blackbeard, actually. So yeah, I've named it after that and wanted to be a pirate, but basically things took a different turn, and I became basically a trustworthy line pilot for War to Me and Bumpus Bar, and also my alt in Test Alliance.
So so you're not living up to your name.
No, I tried, but PvP really wasn't my thing after getting killed so many times. If you look up my kill board, you'll see some tremendous amount of losses.
Yeah,
Uh, Basically, I didn't have the patience or the focus to do PvP.
yeah. Uh, well, were you PvPing alone?
Yeah. In groups I did fine. In groups I basically, you follow your FC or you know what there's gonna be expected and you're focused. But when you're alone, that sometimes it takes a while to get your targets. For example, in factional warfare, it took me some time to find a target, and when it took me too long, I was just like somewhere AFK floating in space, and then people jump on you and you die horribly, and you think, oh, I should have seen that coming, but well, in the end, you didn't. So yeah, another shit loss.
That's interesting. I haven't heard it described that way. I don't solo very much, and it seems like it's kind of you're either good at it and winning, or you're just dying all the time. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of exchange because you either have all the tools ready, right? You have your alts ready to save you, and all this. You have your boosters ready to boost you, or it used to be this way. And so you either had all your equipment ready and you were winning, or you were trying to do it by yourself without any help, and you were dying to people who were prepared.
Yeah, yeah. One of the most funny losses I've ever encountered was against a player called Mephisto, and he was in a he had a kill rate on him, and it was only 25 million, but he was in a Varger, and I saw a Varger, and I thought like, okay, so that's probably 1400 millimeters. I'm in assignable. I'll just go on, activate the kill right, and close orbit in high sec, even in high sec.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought people will jump on it when I activate the kill right, and we kill this fucker. Uh, Things didn't work out that way. He had 800 millimeters because it turns out he was in a mercenary corporation, and he was fit for PvP, and well, basically, he had a nice day. He killed my Cynaball in less than a minute.
Wow, that's discouraging.
That was a little bit discouraging. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I like about your candidacy that I haven't ever seen before, well, I saw it a long time ago with Eva Jobs, who was CSM member, who actually did campaign videos, and they were pretty interesting because she put some special effects in them and stuff like that. But you've actually done a little introductory video just off your phone. Like you just decided not to write a bunch of stuff. You decided to record yourself live, and it's uncut. It's just your who you are and stuff.
Yes. Yes. I did that on purpose because usually when I try to write something, it's just when you write something and then you read it back and then you think to yourself, that's not the message I want to get across. And well, through my job experience in real life and study experience and the situation I've been in, I noticed that when I have to write something, the message that I try to send never comes across as clearly as when I just try to speak and just try to explain myself in person. So I decided to make indeed a video and just upload it on YouTube and then add that to my application, just as I'm talking right now to you on my phone, instead of sitting with my headset at the computer because my ISP fucked up and I still don't have internet in my new house.
So you're on your mobile device. You're on your mobile phone right now.
Yeah. Trying to get this interview before all my data runs out. Yes, indeed.
Oh, well, we'll make it quick. So I think one of the coolest things you've said is that you used Eve as an incentive to like get your life in order. Or you
Yeah.
said you wouldn't be able to play it until you had certain things done in your life.
True, true. I what happened was my mom got kind of really ill. Went to the hospital a couple of times in 1 year's time. At the same time, she got a divorce from her at that time husband, and the husband moved into our house. But once they got married and they separated, because my mom's illness, she lost her job, so she couldn't remain living there. We got kicked out of the house. So I had to make a serious decision at that time, and I decided I could either just go on with my studies and just don't give a fuck about anything, or I can stay back home and provide for the family. And that's basically what I did. I decided for myself, I really want to do something and I really want to accomplish something, and there has to be a reward, and that reward would be Eve. Because I know Eve since 2007 or 2008. I never really got around to play it. And then in 2012, in January, I started playing this as a reward for, well, me basically getting a job. We and my mom and my little brother moving to another house, and ever since my life has taken a huge leap forward, both career as relationship, everything.
Oh, that's amazing. What an amazing story that is. Good for you. But you had your
Yeah,
priorities
thank
straight,
you.
and it's just interesting that Eve was something of a reward for you. I don't think I've ever heard it put that way before.
Yeah, and it still is. It still is. I try to do everything right in real life. I just bought a house with my girlfriend. I'm studying logistics and economics part time at the University of Applied Sciences in Rotterdam. At the same time, working 36 hours a week for Vela Professional Beauty. I did not really mention that straightforward in the application, since I didn't know if they would agree or not if I would actually mention the brand name, but apparently it's not a big issue. So I work for for Wella Professional Beauty, and my life is just going great, and I really wanted to give something back for everything that Eve has meant for me. I want to give back to Eve, and that's why I applied for CSM 12 as a member at the Council of Seller Management.
Yeah. So it sounds like you can handle a huge workload. What is it you want to talk
Yeah.
about when you get to CSM? What are the things you're interested in? Why are you running?
What would be important for me for at CSM, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, I think that there should be more options for players. For example, I've been trying to change my name of my alt Adair Darmazov. I got this character from a friend of mine who, at some point, from one day to the other, decided to quit because it was just too much for me. He had three accounts trying to do everything, and he had some real life problems. And he knew me very well. I knew him very well, and he just said, "Here, have this character." And I really loved his character, the skill points, and etc. But I just didn't love the name Adair Darmazov. He just, when people first got in the name, you can either choose your own name or you can have this name generate, and he just used that name generator, and Adair Darmazov rolled out. Um, so I don't really like that name, and apparently it's not really possible to change your name. And I think that's one of the issues that Eve has, is because I really think that a lot of people pay good money for it, 2 or 3 plaques, to just change their name,
Yeah.
because the character is important for them. But at the time that they got the character or they created the character, which could sometimes be a decade ago, it just lost his meaning, or it doesn't have that value for them, and they really want to change it instead of starting over. And I think that's one of the things that really should be implemented in the game, and should also make a good payday for Eve
Yeah.
when yeah.
I mean, being able to trade skills, on the marketplace was a huge payday for them. People didn't think that was a good sacred cow to kill, right? Because your skills were your skills, your mistakes were your mistakes.
Yeah.
But that ended up being really good for the game. So you think being able to change your name is also something that might be good?
Yeah, I really think that would be a huge payday for CCP, and you have to manage it well because you hear a lot of worries when you talk about that. That, for example, yeah, but people should have thought about it before, or when you are in war with somebody, or if you don't like somebody, you can just change your name, and then. But if you have just like you have a corporation history, where when you look at a character and you find that he's been part of some sort of corporation, so you can say, hey, he's a spy. um, you should also have this with your name history. If people have a name history, you can always look for that name. Something pops up, and you can actually check what names that person had, or
Hmm.
if he's trustworthy or whatever.
So, like in the real world, you would see a paper trail of a person's name changing.
Yeah, exactly. Because nobody lets you just change your name in real life without, any proof of who you were before. I mean, then I can get away with murder if that would be, the case. So,
Hmm.
uh, and luckily we live in a society where that's not the case, and in multiple video games, it's also not the case.
Well, that's really funny that it's harder to change your name in Eve than it is in real life.
Yeah, because you have to really prove at this point. I tried to look into it, and you really have to either be offensive, or somebody has to report you, or there must be some amazing, tremendous reason why you want to change your name. You have to go through a whole lot of trouble to get your name changed,
Oh, that's
and it
really
shouldn't be there.
yeah, that's a really interesting point. That the more offensive you are, the more likely you are to get your name changed. but but
Yeah,
anyway, we're yeah. What? So you played in? You have characters in different places, right? Like, what were your characters?
yeah. Edward teaches high sec. He has right now a little bit over 100 million skill points, and basically most of that is in spaceship command and gunnery, which I use for basically for fun. I use Edward Teach as for fun. It's my first character. I created it back in 2012 as that reward, what we just talked about,
Hmm.
and I use it for running incursions, joining MPSI fleets, doing bombing runs, that sort of stuff in throughout high sec or low sec or null sec when you get into a fleet. And then there's also Darmazov, the character that I got from a friend of mine, and he is now a member of, well, I should just say it out loud, the best alliance in the game, best alliance, best alliance. And yeah, what I do there is carrier rating, trying to do some industry, and trying to find my bearings, which I haven't been able to do for the last month and a half, since I just moved to a new house. So another funny story is that I basically sent my application for candidacy on the 17th of February, I believe,
Hmm.
or no, a little bit longer ago, the 6th or the 7th of February. Anyways, and after that I went offline, moving with the house, and still no internet at the new house. So playing Eve is a little bit hard without internet connection.
Wow. So you're at a real
Yeah,
disadvantage. You got your application in, and then you had to go silent.
and then I had to go silent. Yes, yes, which wasn't part of the plan. However, my ISP, and for the people who are living in the Netherlands, that it would be Ziggo, and Ziggo has some supply management issues, so they cannot get a router to me to get on internet, and I cannot buy my own router because I have to get one of theirs, otherwise it won't work. So
Wow. You're
I really got fucked over on that one.
you're stuck. Well,
I'm
but
stuck. Yes.
but look at you. Even though you're stuck, you're finding a way through as you're using your cell phone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I try to stay in touch by cell phone. People who have my in-game name, Edward Teach. People can write to me. People can ask me anything, literally anything, and I just get back to them because at work I do have an internet connection, and at work I can just log in into the Eve online community and just read my mail and reply to that, or on the forums. So that's still, luckily for me, a way to stay in touch.
Yeah. So you're probably somebody that didn't have a lot of exposure through nullsec, being on nullsec ballots or something like that. So you're appealing for voters. You're appealing to kind of the general community, I imagine. Is that right?
Yeah,
Who's your
yeah.
constituency? Who are likely people that would vote for you? I said that really badly, but
Um,
you get the
no,
idea.
but I yeah, I get the idea. I think that just the people who are playing the game for just playing the game, people who are not always very enthusiastically for example, the sovereign war which Thessalonians just had in Catch and Esoteria, or for example, wormhole corporations or whatever. Just people who want to play the game to play the game and just want some better options or making the game even more customer friendly, or because Eve is also a game on which when you first start you think, what the fuck did I get myself into? And getting the hang of it is always have been one of the things that scares people or new people away. And I think that's something that those type of players are the ones that would or should vote for me. And other than that, I am trying to aim on the incursion community. I'm also a line FC for War to Me incursions, and I fly a lot with Bombers Bar, and so I'm hoping that those people who sometimes fly with MPSI fleets and with War to Me incursions also can find it in their hearts to give me their vote of confidence. Even if you are a TVP listener right now, then and you hate War to Me, then you should still vote for me because I fly incursions just like anybody else. So
I really liked incursions when they first came out. I tried them for a while, even FC'd a few. And it was a really interesting place because it was, and I think the purple community kind of came after it, but it was the first time where you could just kind of get together with strangers and use the in-game voice. Nobody got on the TeamSpeak. They just used the in-game voice because it was right there. And you basically got together with strangers and you went through this process together.
yeah, I really agree with that. However, I think that right now incursions are a little bit outdated. They've been around for quite a while. Never really got some changes for them going, except 2 or 3 patches ago, or maybe 5 or 6. I don't remember, where they changed a couple of vanguard sites or assault sites to make sure that there would also always be a random spawn in the sites.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, just feel that after so many years, everybody knows exactly how to run incursions, so the difficulty goes down. I sometimes hear people say, yeah, but the difficulty is in forming the groups and just knowing how to run the sites. But once you find out how they run, you just keep repeating the trick, and that makes it repetitive, and making it repetitive and easy to grind, because the payout is 31,500,000 ISK per headquarters payout, and so multiply that by 4 times an hour. That's about 120 million. If you fly with TVP, you can easily get 180 to 240 million ISK per hour, which is, well, basically in 4 hours. If you fly with TVP in 4 hours, you have a Plex together in high sec with very little.
And that's if you
Well,
fly one ship, right?
friends.
Because some guys
That
actually use 6 or 7 or 10 ships.
Yeah, yeah, even yeah, that's only one ship indeed. We used to have when multi-boxing and that software application for multi-boxing would still be allowed. We had even a person who had 40 ships and just flew headquarters all by himself in a nightmare fleet, and well, per payout, well, 40 times 30 million, so that was 1.2 billion per site. So, well, you can imagine how much is can be
Yeah, and even without IS Boxer, which was banned for the most part banned, there are still people who are definitely
grinded.
multi-boxing. Oh no, are
Oh,
we? Go ahead. You got you.
yeah, we're still here. Yeah, we were. Yeah, I got a phone call. My mom to call me just now. I'm
Man,
sorry.
take that call. Take that call.
No, I don't.
Uh,
I don't need to take that call. I will call back
okay.
later.
All right. Well, good. I thought we were losing I thought we were running out of data, but there's people who still use multiple accounts at the same time on incursions. So it's still a big moneymaker for the people who know.
Yeah, if you know how to run them and if you know how to operate and etc. Yeah, you can easily multi-box,
But
especially if you fly uh, gunnery ships. I mean, logistical ships is a little bit harder, but can also still be done with multiple
and, and
accounts.
and you're saying make it funner or more interesting or more lucrative for people that don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Eve as a game, it's an RPG game, so role playing game, and uh, there's an history that's been there for quite some time and background stories. And I just if I would be Sancha, I would never fly the same tactic two times or three times because at some point you get your ass kicked and then you try another incursion and you get your ass kicked again. So why not make the variables a little bit more different, uh, and recreate the AI that's involved in incursions to make it more fun, more challenging, and sometimes also maybe even then a little bit more rewarding than only the 30 million ISK per hour, and that's in high sec.
Yeah,
In low sec and null sec, that's even higher.
but it looks like CCP dealt with that by making the drifter incursions. Do those still exist?
No, they don't exist anymore. They
Hmm.
got removed. I've heard stories that the person that thought of implementing the incursions left CCP, and after that they decided to remove it. I don't know if that's true, but there were a lot of bugs involved in the drift incursions, which make them either very difficult or not fun, or
Yeah.
so yeah.
So that didn't happen, and that's okay. So instead, focus on incursions and make them a little more dynamic.
Yeah, that's my opinion at least.
Hmm.
I don't know if a lot of incursion runners would be happy to hear that because they love their easy money. Because they either they run incursions just to make money for nullsec. For example, you are in Test Alliance, I'm in Test Alliance, and then I have my high sec alt running the incursions nice and safe, and then I buy shit in nullsec to rage war.
Hmm. What's interesting is that what I'm getting a sense of from you is that you want people to kind of play the game and earn the game rather than to figure out how this thing works, crack it, and then use that over and over and over again. Because in PvP, you were kind of up against people who basically knew they had all their accounts lined up in order and knew how to attack and all that other stuff. So for somebody who wanted to get into it, there was no real entry. You were either good at it or not. And it seems the same with incursions. You either know how to do it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the communities come in, and the communities take care of the people that are for the first time there or want to join or want to try running, and that's how people get involved in incursions. So yeah, if you make it a little bit more challenging or difficult or whatever, then that would also mean that maybe the incursion communities would diminish a little bit, and that it would actually be again something that only a small portion of Eve can actually manage to get done.
Yeah. So that's an interesting dynamic there. How do you provide for a solo player to enter in? Because right now he has to make friends with somebody, or he has to talk to the right people at the right time. Because if he talks to people who don't want to talk to him, he's just kind of isolated, right? But if there was a way for them to participate in a little fair, more gradual entry point instead of somebody knows how to do it and somebody doesn't know, maybe there are people who know how to do part of it, so they can actually enter into it and get better on their own without having to be at the mercy of a community. Although a community is great, the community's been helpful. It's not always easy to penetrate a community. People think that if you just join a corp, all of a sudden all your problems go away. Well, what if you join the wrong corp? Or
Yeah,
a
if you
corp that's
join the
just
one
trying to
core,
use you.
yeah, yeah, true. Um, and for that, I would say, my best friend has always been since I think the early 2000s has been Google. When you type in Google, yeah, when you type in Google whatever you need, whether it's which corporation should join in Eve Online,
Yeah.
you get like gazillion hits on what to join, and that's always what I've been using. And I think that's what a lot of people use when they don't know something. They type it in Google. Google comes up with some search options, and you just pick out what's right for you, and you just start reading. I mean, there's nothing in this world where you don't have to read up on before starting.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So Google always talks to you, right? Like, will always be there for you.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, for me personally, that's the truth. I mean, when I try to figure out something at work, or people ask me something to do or make them something in Excel, and I've never done it, I just type in Google what I want, and then I find out that way.
So
And I think that
if you're on
yeah,
CSM, if you're on CSM, and they say we're going to talk about drilling platforms, you're going to run to Google and do your homework before you guys start talking about it, right?
yeah, true. I think that's also one of the things that for me at least. I mean that's required if you want to join. You have to read up on the topics you don't know about. I mean, there are so many Eve players, and if they, for example, do want something like drilling platforms for asteroid mining in nullsec, then read up on it. Read up, do your homework. Is it valuable? Is would it be an asset? Talk to people. Get your shit together. Uh, and that's basically the only thing I can come up with to be prepared, because nobody knows everything about Eve. Even CCP doesn't know everything about their game, because so many uh, variables are involved with that.
But you can overcome that by doing a lot of research, at
Yeah,
least getting yourself to a certain point where you can talk intelligently about something.
exactly. Because I'm not really into the whole, for example, moon mining or industrial expertise. I've never created a Titan or any super capital for that matter. But if there's something to talk about on that regard, then of course you're gonna go and find information, and not information only written on paper. But there's plenty of people that write blogs that you can just go ahead and send them a mail and ask them a question, and they are happy to help you out. Most Eve players are actually so excited and so proud of that they are actually part of the game, that they, well, basically that they want to share as much as they can with anybody who's interested in it.
So you have no problem looking up experts and trying to ask them for their opinions.
No, no, I think that's the way to run the world, is by looking at experts. I mean, that's basically one of the things that I don't know if that's allowed to discuss in this channel, but one of the things that's wrong with the politicians these days, they don't talk to the experts of their field. They come up with something and they just gonna go with it, and then they think everything's gonna be all right, and then they find out that it's not gonna be all right because they didn't fucking do their homework.
Oh,
And
it's
I,
really
I, I would be one of those people that would do their homework.
good for you. It's very okay to talk about politics in this channel. We have a whole channel based on politics, and we go back and forth, and it's great. Listen, it's been a pleasure talking with you. It'd be interesting to see how you do. Really happy that you, even though you didn't have internet, found a way to get through on your phone, and it's really amazing what you did for your mom and yourself. And I love the fact that Eve was your reward at the end of that.
Oh, thank you, and it's been my pleasure being here, and I really had a good time. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, and good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.